Hello, I thought I'd do a quick video on my ETS2 setup, my computer. Now, the reason why I'm making this video is because I wanted to build a standalone PC for my Euro Truck Sim. Now, obviously at the moment, with everything that's going on, a lot of the hardware's gone up in price. And to be quite honest, I didn't want to splash out a lot of money on a new graphics card. Because I had some bits and pieces lying around and I knew I was going to have to spend some money anyway. So I had an old Z390 motherboard lying around and I had some memory. The motherboard that I had, though, the reason why it's lying around and I didn't sell it was when I was cleaning it ready to sell it, I managed to damage a couple of the pins. So I was like, oh, okay, I might give that a whirl. So I also had a P106-100, which is a mining card, and I'd tried it before on another gigabyte motherboard. My mini ITX one, and it worked. I was reasonably happy with how it was working, but there were some quirks and issues with certain games that it just wouldn't run. Purely, at a guess, I would say that's down to the driver implementation, due to the fact that we had to use, or I had to use, a hacked driver, or should we say modified driver, so it would be sort of used as basically a GTX 1060, because that's what it is at the end of the day. It's basically a GTX 1060 without a display output. Now, thing is, I bought this some time ago. I think I bought it mid last year when the mining boom was just tailing off and hardware was just coming down in price after the debacle, shortage with graphics cards and whatever because of the mining boom. So I ended up picking it up for about $100. So I was reasonably happy. That's why I bought it. I thought I'd do a video on it, which I never ever did. Because I saw it on Linus Tech Tips and I thought I'd give it a whirl and do a video, but as I said, I didn't do that. But then I just put it in the cupboard and I thought, well, maybe pull that out of the cupboard, see how it goes. And I bought a CPU. I had to buy a CPU with onboard graphics, so I bought an i5 9400 just in case the motherboard was toast. An i5 is going to be easier to resale rather than an i3. So that was my thoughts behind that, and I certainly didn't want to pay for an i7 because I knew I didn't need the power for it. I didn't need the processing power. So that's what I did. I bought a 9400. I took 16 gigs of memory out of one of my other machines that was running 32, because that was a tad excessive for what I do, and I put the mining card in and basically followed the previous instructions that I've seen on Linus Tech Tips, and I got it working. So how does it perform? As you may have seen in Linus's video, he did Tomb Raider benchmark and all the rest of it, and it worked quite well. Now, my worries were the fact that obviously this was last year when his video came out, and there may have been some updates even within Windows that wouldn't allow you to do this anymore. So I was a bit apprehensive, but I got it working, and I was a bit surprised, to be quite honest, not only because maybe Microsoft would work with Nvidia and sort of prevent it from working, which baffled me because there's loads of these around and at the moment they're just landfill. But yeah, it worked. I mean, I tried it on another motherboard. That's the thing. this is the thing, this is the caveat. It doesn't work or seem to work on every motherboard or every CPU. I tried it on an i7 8700 non-K and non-F, because obviously you've got to have onboard graphics, and that worked fine with a Gigabyte Z270 motherboard, and it worked, and it works in this motherboard now, which is a Z390 gaming SLI. Now, what I was concerned about as well was the kind of FPS I'm going to get with, because believe it or not, ETS 2, even though fundamentally it's an old game, it's originally from 2013, I mean, I'm probably wrong on that date, but it's quite an early game that's been updated and updated and updated and updated, possibly, you know, and it's a case of these days you wouldn't be able to sort of distinguish it between you know, a game of today and a game of, you know, considering when they developed it. It's come a long way, so I thought, is it going to have FPS problems? Now, when I was running Pro mods, it was struggling to get 60 FPS. And then ETS2 updated, I can't remember the version, but it updated just recently, and I thought I'll give that a go because the Pro mods wasn't compatible with it, and sure enough it worked. Now, I had a couple of issues, but they were my own making, to be quite honest. But the long and the short of it is, it worked, and it worked quite well. And not only that, and it does run a lot of games and reasonably well, just like you would expect a 1060 to run. Now, the kind of FPS I'm getting in ETS2 are in 1080 with reasonably high settings is 60 FPS and just above. Sometimes it goes a little bit below, but what I found that smooths it out really well is VSync. Now, normally I wouldn't use VSync because I've heard that it can cause jittering and stuff like that, even though, you know, it is for smoothing out the frame rate. But this really works quite well. Now, the reason why I did all of that was I was having issues with my CSR wheel. This is an old Fanatec CSR wheel that's been heavily modded, and I've got a racing simulator as well that has a hub where I can use Fanatec wheels. So I was getting driver issues. That's why I ended up going down this avenue, but that's also why, you know, basically the main use for this computer is only going to be ETS2, an American Truck Sim, and maybe some other games here and there. So it wanted to be minimal cost. So there we go. That's the reason for it. So what I'll do now is I'll have to show you the everything I'm getting through the camera, unfortunately, because that's another one of the issues with running this driver. There's certain parts of the driver that won't work. I was going to try and stream via OBS from this computer to my main computer, but because of one of the drivers, I can't remember which one it is, to be quite honest, it wouldn't work at all. And I spent 2 days trying to sort it out. Then all of a sudden I twigged when it came up. It's all like gives you a notification, have you had this driver installed, NVE? And I was like, oh. And I remember Linus, when he was going through it all, of course you can't have that. It won't work because for whatever reason, and obviously you don't have a display out, so you run through the motherboard's onboard. For how to do that, if you want to try it, you can have a look at Linus Tech Tips, and he's even managed to modify a driver himself with one of his colleagues. So if you're worried about an issue with any hacking or anything like that, so he's which I haven't bothered, to be quite honest. I haven't found a problem with it. The driver, it seems to work okay. Obviously what you then have to do once you've installed everything and you've got it working is prevent Windows from doing updates, because it will update the NVIDIA driver, and then once that's happened then it won't work, as far as I'm aware. So I've avoided that like the plague. Okay, so the next step is I'm going to move the camera around and then show you kind of what I'm getting, and hopefully if anybody was in the same predicament as me and got some gear lying around and you want to give it a whirl. I'm not sure what the prices are at the moment for the P106 100s. I bought mine for $100, so I've got no qualms with mine. I mean, mine was $100. You know, there's no way you can buy a 1060 for that, even today. Well, especially today. So let's have a look-see. The main thing I want is the old sat nav. Oh no, look, it's got it. Oh, look at this. This is lovely. Okay. No, I'm happy with that. I'll tell you what, just so I can get on the move, I'm just going to buy it, and then you know, that'll do. Yeah, that's all right. Yeah. So we'll just buy it and go for a drive, and I'm going to trade in what I've got because, to be quite honest, I'm not very happy with it. Alright, so we're getting a nobly new truck, and as we can see, we got a very stable 60 FPS, lovely and smooth. And yeah, looking pretty good. Now if we look at the settings, let's just quickly look at our settings. Sorry about that. That's on the graphics. So we got scaling 200%, ultra on the SMAA, good depth of field, full screen, 1080, VSync is on. A lot of the settings on high, or as high as they can go, and then go for a drive. I have got a track IR on, so sorry for the let's just go for a drive, shall we? As you can see, we're getting a very stable 60 FPS, even inside the towns. So, let's turn right here. Whoa, don't you love it when they cut in front of you like that? So, look at this, 60 FPS, and the CPU is like 22%. So you probably could get away with an i3, but I don't know if it will work. As I say, the only thing I have tried that I found that definitely work is my Z390 and Z270 or whatever it was motherboards with the onboard graphics, with the 8700 or the 9400 that I've got in this machine now. So that's basically the long and the short of it. Once we go out of the town, oh, I'm speeding. I'm surprised I haven't got. So it works really well. Actually, I'm really happy with it. I'll tell you what, we'll pull into here. See if he's got any jobs for us. It's as smooth as silk, unlike the steering wheel, which is about as noisy as you can get. But it, yeah, I was tickled pink, to be quite honest. I was, you know, thinking, well, I should have tried my i3 because I've got an i3 8100 processor, which probably would have done it as a quad core. But I wasn't 100% sure, and I didn't want to waste, you know, and I thought, if I buy an i3, then I've got to sell it again. Not that it won't sell, but it certainly won't sell as quickly as something like an i5 or equivalent, you know. So as far as the older motherboards, you know, like the 1150s, I'm not sure whether it work on those. It really is a case of suck it and see. So unless you get if you're looking at doing this, unless you get a mining card for reasonably cheap, then it's probably not worth doing. But just be aware, there are ones out there that have a firmware that they just won't work. You know, some of them will have firmware where on the graphics card where they just won't work. Now, I guess I was lucky as far as that's concerned, because the one I bought, although it hadn't been altered or anything, it had been, it worked straight out of the box. And as you can see, you know, the only thing I had to do was do the driver install from a clean install of Windows. If you've already had Windows on there and other drivers, it can be problematic. So it would be my guess that if you want to have a go at this, and the best chance to doing it, of success, is to have a clean install of Windows, and yeah, do it like that. But this is so silky smooth, and that includes when you get things like rain and all the rest of it. I've got a couple of basic mods on here, nothing too strenuous, because you know, once I get pro mods, I am expecting to have to reduce the detail a bit to be able to stick at the 60 FPS. But I don't want to drop below that because it is so smooth. And as you can see, the GPU is actually running at, well, I don't know if you can see it actually, it's running at 1974 megahertz. So it's really up there. It really is up there. I mean, I have got a mild overclock. I put MSI Afterburner on there and did the automatic overclock. It scanned the card, run it through all the overclock settings, and then it just actually its analysis of the card itself, its limitations, was actually power, not temperature. So that was a good thing. So I was really happy about that. You know, it's a case of so it doesn't overheat. I think the hottest I've ever got it is when it was under load, under stress, when it was being tested by MSI Afterburner, and it got to around about 70 odd degrees. Now in my book, that's pretty damn chilly for a card that's not even supposed to be used as a graphics card, but rather processing units for you know, for calculations. You know, so I'm really happy with that, to be quite honest. Right, let's have a look at Freight Market, see what they got for us, if they got anything. Oh look, they got a couple of doozies actually. Nothing too big. Oh, this is a big one. Where's that going to? Back into the UK. As you can guess, that's where I'm from. We got a little one there. A little one in that direction. Or a really little one back to there. You know what? I might just take this one. Then you can come for the ride.
So let's get started. Drive.
Yeah, old Arnold Schwarzenegger is the sat nav. You know, so yeah, I've been running ETS 2 for quite a while. I'm okay. I'm not a good driver. You know, I just do it kind of because one of my favourite things is sorry, I'm sort of like tangenting. One of my favourite things about it is the fact you can listen to the radio. Now that may sound a little bit, you know, you can go and listen to the radio, but I love playing Sims and stuff like that. You know, having a little bit of a challenge, and then let's see who this thing is. It's not there, is it? No, it must be down the bottom. And I like listening to music. Now, I like listening to 80s music, and so I listen National Radio Cardiff, which is one of the you know, on the player, the streamer in this game. So you know, I really love it. I don't think I can play it while I'm doing this recording because it may have some copyright issues. So I'm not going to do anything like that, unfortunately, because it's so much fun. Oh, I'm going to end up banging into that, aren't I? I'll have to straighten up. Yeah, as you can see, I am... Oh, we are in first, aren't we? No, we're not in first. Okay. Alright. I love the track IR as well. I did a video a little while ago with 4 screens, and I found that really immersive, but unless you got 4 screens, like one guy was actually telling me he's going to do a 3-screen setup with 40 inch with 40-inch screens. Now I think that would be the setup to go for, you know. I think that will be absolutely the best, because there was issues with running 4 screens in surround. It wasn't the best quality, and I'm sure if once you enlarge that to the scale of a 40-inch screen as opposed to the 24-inch that I was running, you'd probably notice it a lot more. I love this size of this screen because I find it's a lot more immersive, because it's such a... I mean, the graphics are really good enough, you know. They're not excellent, you know, when you look, especially when you look at the terrain, but when you look at the cars and the general feel of it, if you look, it's fantastic. It's fantastic what they've done, you know. So I mean, that's why I play this game. I love listening to the radio and all of that kind of malarkey. Yeah, we got like an hour and 40 minutes drive. Get down to gear up here. Yeah. There we go. And as you can see, we're staying at 60 FPS. The card is still over boosting to 1974. And it's 63 degrees it's running at, and 86% GPU. You know, so you can't argue with that. Cutting that corner a little bit fine, aren't I? There we go. Yeah, but I find this very relaxing. I love ATS as well, American Truck Sim. I like that because of the where I live now. I live in Australia, and they use a lot of the Kenworths here, and the mag trucks, and there is Volvos and you know there is all of that, but crikey, it's expecting delivery already. Better get a wiggle on. But yeah, so living here and sort of like seeing all the big trucks that are around Australia, especially when you see you know, the road trains. I think the biggest I've seen is 3, which is, I think is the maximum you can do, 3 trailers. But you see, I think I've got a cop car behind me, so maybe I should slow down a little bit. Yeah, I don't know how they can expect me to do that any quicker than I'm. Yeah, so you just love it. Yeah, it hasn't dipped below 60 at all. So I'm glad I'm recording this one, because I will probably edit this one down. Yeah. So I might do even something a bit scandalous. Let's do. You're just going to come face to face with another car. That means the cop car can't get me. Yeah, so I mean, the compatibility issue I was getting with the wheel was a bit annoying, but I do love the Fanatic wheels. You know, being able to use them on my direct drive setup was, yeah, I was really glad about that, because I mean, I could have sold them with the hub. I had a McLaren one, and to be quite honest, the McLaren wheel wasn't. I mean, it could have been, in my opinion, really good, but every time I used it, especially when I tried to use it on the direct drive, it was glitchy. I mean, the guy who sold me the hub, he said, look, the firmware in the hub is compatible with the Formula rim and, you know, the BMW rim and the Universal hub pre Xbox. But not the new one, so I was well aware of that. But yeah, even still, I had a few issues with drivers, so I decided, hey, why not? You know, I had a lot of gear lying around, as I do. I'm a bit of a hoarder, so that's what I did. I built this PC. I bought a case that was $26. Oh, that was hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. It was, I'd show you, but it it's sitting at my feet at the moment, and it's yeah, it's worth every cent of $26, but no more, you know. So all right, according to them, we are here. I'll tell you what, seeing as I'm on film, I'll okay, this is probably not going to be as easy as I'd hoped, but we're going to try and okay, this is actually going to be pretty bloody tricky for me. Well, that's not nice, is it? Leave the logs out. Who left the logs out? Be able to straighten up a little bit, because you can see it all the way back there. Okay, let's try. Oh, getting a little bit carried away with the steering there. Oh, yeah, too fast, too fast. No. That's what happens when you end up getting too close and then. Oh, wrong way. This is one of the reasons I. Nah, it's not going to do it. Why the hell wouldn't it straighten up? There we go. That's better. There we go. Just like a ball one. Oh, tail's out a little bit. Didn't see that. Thought I was in line with it. Will be this time. There we go. Okay. So that is ETS 2 with running on a mining GPU, a P106 100. Hope you enjoyed it. Gives you food for thought if you're in the same kind of situation as myself, or you just want to give it a whirl. But yeah, do your homework first. Make sure you got hardware that has a good chance of being compatible, and then watch the Linus Tech Tips videos. And yeah, there we go. ETS 2, 60 FPS on a mining GPU. It's not perfect for everything. There are issues. I tried to run Doom and it wouldn't have a bar of it. It actually, it just wouldn't run. But there's a few games I know it does run. It runs really well. But as I say, you'd have to take your own chances with games that it'll run and won't run. So I'm not going to list, you know, GTA 5 and all the rest of them that it will run, because I don't know. I've only tried ETS 2, ATS, Isle of Man TT, and a couple of other, you know, games that, you know, that I know will run. But the long and the short of it is, it does exactly what I want it to do. I had it lying around. I thought I'd give it a go. But it does have its caveats, as I said. You can't update your driver, so it won't deal with new games that are coming out, even though it has probably got the graphics power to do it. You have to stop Windows from updating. You'd have to do them manually, because otherwise Microsoft will update your NVIDIA driver and then it won't work, as far as I know. But yeah, I'm happy with what it does and how it performs. Thank you for watching. I wouldn't recommend subscribing because I don't do many videos, but if you liked it, give it a thumbs up. By all means subscribe. I'm trying to do more videos with sim racing, especially with Assetto Corsa, with the British Touring Car Championship. I really quite like that. Somebody left in the comments that it's actually been ripped off from someone else, and it was issued for free, but I don't know anything about that, and I was happy to pay $7 or whatever it was for the game, for the mod. So I thought I'd acknowledge his comment, and took that on board. But you know, all it means is I'm a bit of a mug to pay for the mod, where it might be, if you want to find it somewhere else for free, you probably could. But there we go. Hope you're staying well. Look after yourselves, and I'll catch you later.